Okay guys, welcome back. We're back with day 3. We're going to be working on this little broom closet, little witch in the broom closet over here on the left hand side. And we're going to get straight into it and see how we're going. So midweek I'm going to do the background. I'm going to go in with lavender. And I'm just going to be putting in a light layer here in the background and making sure I'm actually getting the sky and not the witch. Okay, so I figured while we're doing this I might do some talking about random topics as we're going through. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is the question. So I kind of googled up, conversation starters and things to talk about, because I'm pretty good at talking, but coming up with something to talk about every day for 28 days is going to be impossible for me. So I'm going to use some prompts to get me started. So the first one I'm going to talk about is, if you won the lottery, what is the first thing you would buy and why? So I'm going to just talk about what I'd do if I won the lottery. Like we all sit there and dream about what we do. I know I certainly do dream about it. I've got an active imagination, so it's something I like to do as I'm trying to get to sleep, is dreaming about what I would do if I won the lottery. So the first thing I would do if I won the lottery is, I used to say I would, I wouldn't quit my job. Yes, I would. I'm now old enough that I'm like, no, I in fact would resign from my position at work. That doesn't mean that I would resign from working in general, but I would definitely resign from, I guess, my paid employment. I wouldn't be continuing to work for an income as such. I think, it's one of those things. I love what I do. I very much love my job. It brings me great amount of joy. But I'm going to go in now with violet. It's not something that I feel I need to continue to do to earn an income. I think I would volunteer. So I definitely still contribute in some way to my community. I'm already active member of a lot of community groups anyway, but I would, ramp up my community involvement. Instead of being kind of half doing stuff with the community, I think I'd become a lot more active with that in my opportunities to kind of give back and do things. So definitely become a lot more in my volunteer work, and I think a lot of that volunteer work would actively become a way of me continuing to teach. I do enjoy teaching. It obviously it's something that it is. Whilst it's my vocation, it's definitely something I was surprisingly, I didn't think so when I was younger, and being a teacher was not what I dreamed of at school. It's definitely something I innately want to do. I'm going to go back in with amethyst, just over the top of that. So I think that would be the first thing. Is I'm not even going to pretend otherwise. I would be like, I'm not coming into work. I'm done. I love my students and all of that, and I'd want to go say goodbye to them and things. But I'm like, no. I'm done. See ya. Enjoy your lives. I don't have that sense of, I guess, that I'd need to stay for that. But I guess that's not really, what the first thing I'd buy. First thing I would buy would be, I don't know, you're going to go nuts. The light fast pencils, I can tell you that. I'd be buying the Loomies and the light fasts and all of those pencils that I can't, that are realistically out of my budget at this point in time. I'd be going a bit spastic on those kind of luxury items art-wise, but, that's just little treats. I would buy a house. The first thing I'd buy a house. And then you sit there and again, people are like, if I won the lotto, I'm going to move to France and all of that kind of stuff, or going to live in Hawaii or whatever. I love where I live. I love the town I live in, and I'd buy a house here. This would be where I would base myself. I like my community. I like the people. I like my friends. It's close to the most of my family. They're not ridiculously out of, ways for me to be able to go see them. And if I won the lottery, I can get a plane without even thinking about it, so I can go see my mum and all that kind of stuff. So I'd definitely be buying a house. There's a block of land in the town that I live in that I would love to buy. It overlooks the river. It's in town. Nice block of land. That's probably where I'd buy, and then eventually build my I guess dream house, which isn't a mansion as such. It'd just be a decent sized house with art studio and a study and a library and all that kind of stuff. But it's not, I'm not looking to build a 14 bedroom house or anything like that. But yeah, so that would be eventually where I'd go. But I have dreams about, my dream house and what kind of style it'd be. It'd be a combination of a classic Queenslander style house with a Japanese influence. So I'd like to combine the two of them, those kind of influences together. Going back in now with amethyst. So that would definitely be kind of where I'd be hanging for there. But I don't know. I think that would be the main thing there. But I'd buy a house in the interim. I'd probably just buy the house that I'm in now. I'd make an offer to the landlord and see if I could just live here so I didn't have to move. It suits me just fine. And that way I own it, and as I, build my dream home, I can plod along and get things going. And this is a beautiful spot that I live in anyway, so that'll make me happy. All right, so there's the background. Let's do this witch. So I'm just looking at some colours while I'm thinking about what I'm going to do there. I think I might go in with, all right, that one. And that one. Okay, so I'm going to go in with emerald green. So the dream house. So, I sit there and think it'd be nice. I'd like, the typical thing, a nice sized bedroom and nice sized wardrobe. I like my clothes and my shoes, all of that. And I'd like to give that to the girls as well. And a nice big kitchen with a butler's pantry. So, that would just be heaven. Nice big art craft room, a good sized shed out the back with all of the other stuff. And so just kind of getting in, and eventually, I'm just trying to think, where's the boots? Hold on, I've got to look. All right, sorry, I'm just having a look at, trying to see what I'm doing here. All right, so let's do this. Okay. I'm going in with emerald, and then I'm going to go in with, I'm just going to put a tip on it. I'm going to go in with deep green. So that would be it. Then cars. I would like to buy myself a Tesla. I like the idea of it, but theoretically in regional Queensland where I live, the electric cars aren't all that practical because they don't have the road range that I need to be able to go like significant places. But for around town and stuff, it'd be more than fine. And then on the alternative to that, I'd like to buy myself a decent four-wheel drive dual cab ute kind of thing, that I can go around and see parts of Australia with in the four-wheel drive, turbo diesel. I know one's environmentally, I guess, conscious and all of that, and the other one's like, yep, want a big engine, go vroom vroom, but that's okay. So definitely they would be the two things that I'd be looking at there. And then what else would I want? I don't know. I definitely want to travel. That would be obviously mindful of Georgia and with school and stuff. It'd have to be, I kind of sit there and think I'd do travel with them, and then I'd also, at times do travel on my own if they're at different places, like Georgia's visiting her father and stuff. I could go off and do some on my own, but I definitely want to show them the world. I mean, who wouldn't want that opportunity to go visit all of the places that we have here? But yeah, this would definitely, I'd stay here. This would be my home base. Then, you know, you start to get into those pipe dreams. Obviously, with volunteering comes a lot of charity work and doing all of that kind of stuff. I'm very much about giving back in ways that I could. I'd like to do some charity work for children and families of disadvantaged families and children. You know, as a mother of a child that is no longer here, I'm all about, if I can make a difference in any living children's lives, then I'm going to continue to do that. So that would be definitely a charitable focus that I would have. And having the opportunity to do that without having to worry about work would be fantastic. I'm going back in with Emerald now and just starting to really think about this dress. I'll go back to the hat in a second. So I'm just deepening it up with black. Sorry if I didn't explain that. I'm going to go back in with deep green and start layering and bringing that up. So yeah, so that would be part of what I would do there, you know, and obviously giving the girls every opportunity to have and meet their dreams, you know, taking Georgia and, you know, the girls and taking them to the Louvre and taking them to the the fashion shows and all of those kinds of things that just could inspire them, and that I've got the opportunity to give them and be able to do with them now. That would be an amazing thing. Oh, wait up, we've got a sleeve back here. I'm just going to go with that. A little bit of black. So keep a bit of shadow there. All right. In underneath the hair. And here a little bit. So now I'm just trying to think about, so that we don't lose, obviously, the shape of her cloak and her dress. All right, I'm going to come in now with the hat. I'm going to stick with the black for now and just do that. I think I'm going to do a black rim. There we go. I might put a bit of silver there so it's shining. And let's do the boots. Sorry, I'm just concentrating. These are tiny little areas. I'm like trying to think about what I'm doing. Okay, so we've got boots. A bit more black in here. A point. I'm going to come in with the emerald green again up here on the hat, just to highlight that in. Okay. I'm going to use the silver metallic just to give a bit of sheen to the highlight up here on the hat, if we even see it, and here in the boots. All right, okay, so that's a start. Let's do her face. I might go in with creamsicle. I don't want to give her a green face. We're just going to make a pasty witch. Okay. So, I'll come in with a little bit of, what do I want to use? Hold on, I'm just looking at my colour chart, trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a bit of depth in her face. I might just come in with a little bit of rust. Yes, just a little bit of rust here. Just to give a little bit of shade, not too much. Back in with creamsicle. And then for her hair, we'll go in with ice grey. And let's come in now with dark grey. A bit of texture there. And the white. Alright, so there's our little witch. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to come back and do this little ostrich feather duster. Okay, so I'm going to come in with butterscotch. And I'm just going to put a little bit around some of the edges. Mainly in the places where Colin's put some of his shading. So I'm going to try and stick with, like, throughout this theme, throughout this page, I'm trying to stick with, if I can, with more of the traditional kind of colours of traditional Japanese, Asian kind of vintage style. So a lot of their older dusters were made out of things like ostrich feathers and so forth. So, all right, so I've got that with the butterscotch, and I'm going to come in with orange bronze and just add a little bit darker in different sections. Just a little bit of that. So when we think about the lotto, so I'm still going to talk about lotto, you know, we've talked about practical things, you know, the things that you would do just for, you know, setting up children and life and stuff. And then it's like, well, what would I, you know, depending on how much you want, like you got to be realistically here. I'm going to go in with a little bit of dark brown just here, just in some of these deeper shadow bits, just to add a little bit of contrast. Coming back in with a little bit of butterscotch. Just going to add a few more little tufts on my feathers around here, and then I'm going to come in with white. And I'm just going to kind of bring that in a little bit, just so we can draw that colour in. And we're not leaving the page uncoloured completely. That, you know, the feathers aren't pure white. They will have a touch of some kind of colour to them. So that is that. All right. Yeah. So what am I going to do now? I think I might have a break from talking for a little bit, and I'll come back and talk to you about, like, if I won the lotto, what my big dreams would be. And I'm going to do the brooms. Okay, so all of the dustbands and the brooms. And now I'm going to stick with traditional colours for that. So I'm going to use a light-handed coloured wood. So for that, I will be using light ochre and what did I decide? Light ochre and I'm trying to think of what colours I decided. Okay, so I'm going to come back later after this. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just work on the brooms and have a bit of a break from talking, and I'll come back to do other little bits within here, and I'll continue to talk about, you know, what I would do for like a fair bit on the lotto. All right, but this part I'm just going to speed up, okay, to keep the videos a little bit shorter. The colours that I'm going to do, keeping them traditional, I'm going to go for a light handle, and I'm going to use light ochre and rust. And I may use probably a little bit of dandelion. And then for the actual straw, I'm going to go a little bit darker, and I'm going to use ochre, brown and dark brown for those colours. Okay, so I'm going to go off and do that.
genocide, monsters roaming the earth, the freaking apocalypse. At what point does he lift a damn finger and...
Okay, so we're going to come back, and I've done the brooms, so they're all done, and I'm going to come back and do this door at the back. And now if there's a door and I have the chance, I'm making it red. So that is what colour it will be. So I'm going to go in first with papaya. I just like red doors. In Asian culture, red door is a good luck symbol. Okay, it brings luck into the house. I think that will be still part of the door. So I'm going to take that as part of the door. There we go. All right. That's the thing, is trying to work out what each parts of these little things are. All right. So there we go. We've got papaya. And then I'm going to come in with chili. I'm going to do chili red. Let's start doing that. So what would I do, like, you know, if I was one, like a ridiculous exorbitant amount of money? Obviously, you know, when we talk about this, there is no doubt that I would help my families out. Okay, so, you know, regardless of what I've got, it would be, you know, monetary value would be, I guess, proportional to what I've won, that I would help my family out with. Okay, I'm going to go in now with, I think, mahogany. Okay, so yeah, it'd be very much proportional to what I want, but obviously I would definitely help out my family members, so please don't, you know, that I realized that probably wasn't just a given, but it is just a given. But dream big. Okay, I'm going to go back in with chili. Would be, I would love to buy a huge amount of land on a mountain somewhere in the middle of nowhere, with beautiful views, so nice vistas. Okay, back in with papaya, and build myself, you know, a house up there. Same thing, very similar to my dream house, but just in the middle of nowhere, where I could have chooks and plants and all of that kind of stuff, and live a very, you know, sustainable life with no people around. You know, I guess it's that introvert thing of sometimes I just like to get away. I'm going to go back in with black now and just use that to accentuate some of these shadows from our door. Yeah, so I definitely do that kind of, I'd love that. You know, and that would be a holiday home for obviously all members of my family if they wanted to get away and kind of live there. But I'm lucky enough, I say it a lot, but I do actually live in a beautiful place in the world. So I would stay in this area. I would obviously visit other places in the world, but I do actually, I'm going back in with papaya now just to go back over. I do love where I live. So I love living in Australia. I would like to visit and stay in other places of the world, but, you know, Australia is home, and I think that's an important thing. Just going in with mahogany, just trying to get a few of these shadows, just so we've got some nice depth going there, but we can still see that it is a door. Alright, so that's the door. Okay, let's look at these bricks. I think I might go in with dandelion. Just put a little bit of a base down there on these bricks. And I might come in with light ochre. So I'm going to make them sandstone bricks. Just going to add a little bit of, because I'm going to make these silver, so I don't want to make grey bricks or red bricks because I've got a red door, so I'm sticking with the sandstone appearance. going to go in with ochre. I just need to put a point on that. Yeah, so that's what I would like to do, you know, in the middle of nowhere, that kind of thing. Live a sustainable life. Yeah. Escape the apocalypse. That kind of stuff. But yeah. But yeah, I think that'd be the main things I would do. I'm just going to go back in with dandelion. Like that. Now I'm going to go in with lemon and put that in the doorway and the window. So we've got our little thing going up, and then I'm going to come in with black and just run that along here, so we've got that distinct line between the house and the door. I'm just going to run that up into the door, really give that shadow effect there. Okay, alrighty. Okay, let's go now into the bucket and the iron. I'm going to use a base of silver. I figured got to use this metallic one when we have an opportunity, so I'm going to. So I'm going to go in, use the silver, along. Here, let's run it along here. Now let's go in with a little bit of ice grey. So I guess the question is what would you do if you won the lotto? What would be the first thing you would buy? What would be your things that you would be doing? Because we all have different dreams and different things that are important to us. So what would be your splurges, okay? And what would be, you know, the practical things that you might do with it? I'm going in with dark grey now. Practical things that you would do with your winnings. Alright, just running that up along the handle there. Just on the top side as well. And down the side here. And here. Right, I'm going to bring that in here. So I am using Colin's, you know, grayscale as a guide as to where I'm laying these depths of colour. So it doesn't matter what you choose to do. You could have a bright red bucket if you wanted to. It's just taking the lighter tones up and down to the deeper shades. Okay, I'm going to go in with a bit of black now. I'm going to run that black right along here. Where else am I going to put it? Just in here underneath this bit here. Run it down there. Just along there. Along the base. Yeah, because it'd be interesting to see how each one has a different idea about what they would do with the lotto. You know, I got no desire to buy myself a private jet or anything. I forgot the handle here, so I'm just going to come in with the silver. Highlight that. Now come in with black and just really just define that outer edge of that handle over here so it doesn't get lost in the shadows. You can see that it's there. So with these kind of things, definitely putting in the shadow contrast behind the things that are sticking forward helps bring them back out so that you can actually see that they're there and that there's some depth and 3D nature to the drawing. Otherwise, it'll get lost within it. Okay, come back in with silver. Like over the top of all of this. Bring it out. I'm still leaving a little bit of white. Okay, coming back in with white pencil. I'm just going to run it along this bit here. And this bit. Now I'm going to come in with my gel pen. Okay, a little bit of a highlight. Okay, so what have we done? What are we missing? I think we are in fact done. We've got our little panda there, but he can stay as is. Have I got everything on this drawing? I think I do. I'm probably looking at it and missing something. You can hear Casper going off in the background there. I'm just going to come in with the black and just darken over this little creature down here, just so he doesn't get lost with that yellow going over the top of him. Okay, so I think that is day number 3. Don't forget to tell me about what you would do with if you won the lotto. And that would be excellent. So leave a like, let me know if you're enjoying these, and all of that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, I'm really tired because I'm actually filming these after work as well. So my normal get up and go and chattiness is a little bit dulled. And so I do appreciate you hanging around. And I will check in with you tomorrow. And as always, remember, be kind, be strong, be a warrior. And I'll see you later. Bye.